Okay, folks, welcome back. So a couple of announcements to start out with. First, our first quiz, or rather test, on equations and inequalities will be the week of October 5th, the first week of October. Please make sure you're keeping up with the material so you do well on this quiz. This week, the 5th and the 6th, or Monday and Tuesday, will be a review, and then Wednesday, Thursday will be the actual quiz, the actual test. I don't know exactly what format the test will take yet, but as soon as I know, you'll know. Okay, thank you. Now, when is your homework and your quizzes due? If you are a Monday student, meaning you go to Google Classroom and it says Monday student, Monday, right? That means everything you receive on Monday, and it is all due Sunday at midnight. If you are a Tuesday student, everything is due Monday at midnight. If you are a Wednesday student, everything is due Tuesday at midnight. And if you are a Thursday student, everything you do is due Wednesday at midnight. So please keep that in mind, folks, and try to avoid late assignments. Just a warning, quizzes will no longer be accepted late. If you miss a quiz, you missed it. Quizzes have to be taken within that week period, okay? No exceptions on that. Turning off Google Classroom notifications. Now, it's important that if you're a virtual student, I need to be able to reach you via email. But right now, the way everything is set up, you have just a billion emails from Google Classroom. So I'm going to show you right now. I want you to follow along on your computer. I'm going to show you how to turn off those notifications. So I'm going to go into Google Classroom, right here. These should be all of your classrooms. These are all mine, obviously, but you should see yours. You go up to these three bars at the top left. Click on the three bars, and you scroll down till you see settings. Settings is at the bottom of the list. You click on settings, and you should see this. I want you to go down to receive email notifications, receive email notifications. It is fine to keep that going, but a lot of this stuff needs to be turned up. Comments on your posts. Sure, you want to see if I respond to something on your post. That's good. Comments that mention you, maybe. Private comments on work, maybe. I want you to look through these and try to start getting rid of a bunch of these, okay? Classes you're enrolled in, I guess this is the important one. Work and other posts from teachers. You do not need to be seeing every post that I make, because on whatever day you have class, you'll get like 6 posts from me. You don't want to see that as an email, so please get rid of that. Returned work and grades from your teacher. You want to see those. We'll keep that going. Invitations to join classes as a student. Sure, I don't think you'll get a lot of those, but we'll keep that. And due date reminders for your work. I guess that's up to you. Do you need a reminder for your work or do you not? Maybe you should keep that going, maybe not. I'll leave that up to you. And that's it. You're not going to teach any classes. So just classes you're enrolled in. Please go through, and I guess the big one is uncheck this one, and that'll help make your email less populated and more useful for you, okay? Great. Now, let's get into some actual mathematics. Now, solving and graphing inequalities. We remember from last class that inequalities are these little signs here, right there, and that helps us to see if something's greater or less than another thing, okay? So looking at this, I'm hoping we notice that it looks very, very similar. Oops, let's change over to, come on. Let's pause real quick. Okay, let's see if that fixed the problem. No, it did not. Okay, folks, so now that we fixed that, I'm not really sure what the issue was there, but looks like I fixed it. So moving on, now to the actual mathematics, we're going to talk about the inequalities. And we notice that these look very similar to the equations we've been solving lately. But instead of an equal sign, an equation has an equal sign, an inequality has an inequality sign, okay? Now, first steps are pretty easy, right? We're just solve it like we would an equation. We're trying to get x by itself, isolate our variable. So we're going to add 4, just like we practiced. Add 4. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. Bring down our variable. And then this sign just stays the exact same, right? Not too bad. Now, As we've been practicing as well, we're going to get in the habit of writing our variable first. So we switch our variable, we write our variable over here, but when we do that, the x is still larger, right? The crocodile wants to eat the larger thing, so x is still larger. So we're just going to switch it around. We switch the whole equation around like a mirror. Switch it all around. Now, this tells us that x is bigger than or equal to 1. So, because I see this equal to here, I know I'm going to go up to the number line, right? Now that we've solved it, maybe we should say that first. We've solved this equation. We're done there, right? We've solved it. Now we can graph it. We know we solved it because the variable is isolated. Now, this 1, because it says equal to, I'm going to go to 1 and I'm going to fill in a dot. Not an empty one, not a hole, but a full dot because it says equal to. Now, this tells us x is greater than or equal to 1. Greater than would be this way. This way is bigger. The other way, smaller. Very similar to what we did last week. Now, for this problem here, r divided by 3, our fraction means divided by. So we're going to multiply by 3. Multiply by 3. The 3's cancel out. R is greater than 18. Now, because I see this 18 here, I'm going to put a circle not filled in because there's no equal to, and it says r is greater than. So that's this way. R is greater than. Okay, and we've solved it and we've graphed it. Now let's try one more together. We'll try this one. This one looks a little bit more difficult. So we'll do negative 22 is greater than negative 10 plus b. A little bit too small. So I'm going to add my 10 here, add 10, solve it just like we have equations. The 10s cancel out. Moving down my greater than sign, this is negative 12. Negative 22 plus 10 is negative 12. And bring down my variable. Again, because the variable ends up on the right, I'm going to switch it around. I want the variable first. B is less than, I switch the sign as well, negative 12. So no equal to, so I'm going to draw a hole at 12. And I know it says B is less than. Well, less than is this way. And that's it. Okay. Now, moving on. This is where inequalities get a little weird, right? So we need to be careful with these ones. When you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip the sign. So we're going to solve these equations just like we've been practicing with equations, but the inequalities, if you multiply or divide by a negative, you switch the sign, okay? So let's look at this first one here. We have, change to blue, I like blue better. Negative v is greater than 4. Well, we want to isolate the variable. The variable is not isolated because of this negative, or we could consider it a negative 1 times v. Now, to get rid of this negative, we can multiply by negative 1. We know that a negative times a negative is a positive. We do it to one side. We have to do it to the other. But we remember our warning here. Remember our warning. So negative 1 times negative v is positive v. We've isolated v. That's awesome. 4 times negative 1, negative 4. Now, usually we would bring down our sign. But notice we just multiplied by a negative, So we're going to switch the sign. Okay? This is our only rule we need to remember. The only thing that's different from our inequalities is when we multiply or divide by a negative. So this says v is less than negative 4. We'll do an empty circle because there's no equal to. And then v is less than, which means we're going to go this direction because that direction is less than, smaller. Okay? This one is very similar. I'll let you try that one on your own. Now, let's do a couple more difficult. Negative 76 is greater than or equal to negative 4b. Negative 4b. Now, to get b by itself, because it's multiplied, we're going to divide by negative 4. Oops, we're dividing by negative. Got to be careful with that. So, I'm going to cross out our 4s, cross out our negatives, brings down just a b. And negative 76 divided by negative 4, negative divided by a negative is positive. And I know 4 times 20 is 80, so 4 times 19 will give me this 76, okay? So I'm going to put 19 here, a positive 19. But because we divided or multiplied by a negative, we're going to flip the sign around, Now, this is correct, but we're getting in the habit of writing our variable first. So I'm going to bring my variable over here, flip the sign, right? Rotate it like a mirror if I need to get my variable first. So now I have b is greater than or equal to 19. So I'm going to go to 19, fill in a circle, and b is greater than. Okay. Now, that is all we have for our inequality practice. I hope you felt confident about that. You're going to practice at home. The inequality worksheet that we do here, when you're done, you're going to take a picture and submit it through Google Classroom to make sure that you get credit for that. Many of you are not doing that. If you have questions, you need to let me know. The easiest way to do it, get on your phone, take the picture on your phone, go on Google Classroom on your phone, go to the activity, and you can upload a file. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it. If you're confused, you let me know. Okay. Last thing we're going to talk about is the coordinate plane. So this is the coordinate plane. Next week, we're going to get more into graphing. I just wanted to show you a little introduction here. Coordinate plane, some vocabulary. This is the y-axis. The y-axis, the one that goes up and down right here. And this is our x-axis, goes right to left. Right in the middle where they meet is called the origin. This is 0, 0, the coordinate 0, 0, 0x, 0y. Now we know that coordinates all have an x and a y. Two things, an x and a y. Coordinates have an x and a y. Cool. Now, quadrants. There are 4 quadrants. They go around like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is Roman numerals for 4. So quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Looking at quadrant 1, we should notice that if we look at the x always comes first. If we look at the x, all the x's over here are going to be positive. So we're going to put a little plus sign here so we remember that quadrant 1 always have positive x's. And all of our y's are also positive. I'm sure we remember this a little bit from 8th or 7th grade. Now looking at quadrant 2, the x's are now negative over here. The x's are negative, but the y's are still positive. They're still positive. Notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all positive. Looking at number 3, our x's become negative as well as our y's are negative. So both of these are negative. And quadrant 4, our x's are now positive, but our y's are negative. Now we'll do a couple of examples here. Tell me what point is located at each ordered pair. So 5, 8, 5, 8. I go over to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the x because the first number tells me the x, so I'm on the x-axis, number 5. And then I go up to 8 on our y. So this meets at point D, D. Moving on to number 2. Now they switched the numbers, 8, 5. Is it going to be D again? Let's find out. We go over to 8 on the x-axis because the x is first, 8. We go over to 8, and then we go up to 5. Sure enough, that is a very different point. That's point I. That is not the same. So if you switch them, they're very different. Now, 3, 0, 2. I'm going to go to 0 on the x-axis. Oh, that's right there. And then 2 up to our y. And ironically enough, it gives us y. Now, let's see if we can find the coordinates ourselves. First one is Q. Looking at Q, I know I'm going to find the x first. And if I go down to the x is 5. I'm going to put a parenthesis. My coordinates have parentheses. 5, comma. And then this Q has a y value of 2. Let's try one more of those. O. So O, right here, I found O, has an x value of 6, parentheses 6, a little comma in the middle, and then a y value of 4. Okay, try some more of those on your own. And that'll be it, folks, for today's lesson. Keep working hard, and as always, email me with any questions, comments, or concerns.